boatloads totalling 150 tons of Semtex and weapons were smuggled to Ireland. Some were later discovered. Slab Murphy is reported to have waded into the sea to help carry the weapons ashore.
No, that place has a lot to answer for.
Willie Fraser grew up 7 miles down the road from Slab Murphy in South Armagh.
That is the Godfather's property there, you know. That's the man who's responsible for the atrocities in South Armagh.
Ironically, it was his old enemy who first planted the idea of suing Libya in Willie Fraser's mind. Slab Murphy, filmed here in 2007, sued the Sunday Times in the late 1990s and lost. The jury found Murphy to be a man of worthless reputation who had been involved in murder. If a Dublin jury could find against Murphy, then surely another could be found that would hold Libya to account. What was the initial response from politicians?
Well, one of you have no chance. You know, it's a game at this now 10 years, and the first response was, good idea, Willie, but it can never happen.
Undaunted, Willie Fraser contacted the Sunday Times lawyer Jason McHugh, who would subsequently become known as the man who won the action for the Omagh victims.
I could see victims from bombings going back to Enniskillen, and for 20 odd years these people had tried to seek some form of justice or compensation, whatever, and really haven't got anywhere. And it seemed to me they were the lost victims, particularly as the peace process moved on.
In 2003, special legislation was introduced in America to allow victims of the Lockerbie bombing to sue Libya. 270 people were killed when Libyans blew up a Pan Am plane over the Scottish town. Jason McHugh realised that that legislation could also be used by the IRA victims. It was a defining moment. If just one American citizen signed up to the class action, more than 150 UK victims would win the right to sue Libya through the American courts. Months later, one of Willie Fraser's team made a breakthrough in a phone call to a remote ranch in Colorado. The American on the other end of the line fitted the legal criteria.
Call from the blue from Northern Ireland, yeah. Jason McHugh called, and that's sort of when it started to come together that, oh, there really may be, you know, there really may be a way to bring some justice home to Gaddafi.
Mark MacDonald suffered horrific injuries when the IRA planted a bomb outside Harrods in London in 1983.
The concept of Christmas bombings, you know, I'd never heard of such a thing. You know, it is a Christmas bombing. How can this make anyone happy at Christmas?
For days, Mark MacDonald clung to life. Later, he received a special visit from the Princess of Wales.
Strangely, for the first day, I didn't actually feel much pain. The pain started later. I was blood from one end to the other. So, I mean, starting down at my feet, my feet were all torn up with shrapnel. Particularly everything on my left side was torn up. I had so many injuries and cuts and blood all over me up the left side. So, I mean, from some injuries at my ankle to I lost 80% of the hamstring on this leg. The prime nerve on this leg was just dangling like a bowstring. If that nerve had been broken, I wouldn't be walking like this.
With Harrods victim Mark MacDonald to head it up, Jason McHugh was able to bring a class action for 156 IRA victims against Libya. Victims from right across Northern Ireland and Britain, including those injured in the 1996 Docklands bombing in London. Farad Berzag and his father had just left their cleaning job when the bomb went off.
I'd say I was about 100 metres away, at most.
Can you remember what happened in the immediate after?
Some of it, I mean, I remember in a flash, my ears started bleeding, so I guess I must have got perforated eardrums. A couple of bits of shrapnel in my neck along here, and a couple in my scalp.
2 people were killed instantly. Farad's father, Zao, was severely brain damaged. Today, he has the mental age of a 4-year-old. His wife, Gemma, has given up her job to care for him.
Oh, you remember? Of course I remember.
He's
69, but he act like 2 years old or 4 years old. You need 24 hours caring. I mean, me and my family, we give him all the support he can have. And we done it for 14 years, and I'll do it all the rest of my life. I had the gates in front of my house because he gone missing 3 times. He walked out and he never came back.
Gemma Berizag says she just wants enough money from Libya to give her husband a comfortable life.
My kids lost the father. They lost the father 14 years. There's a father there, but there's no father there. So, that's it. They miss him so much as a father, because he was a father. He was a man, he was a gentleman, he was a worker. But they miss him as a father. Even now I've got my grandchildren, he doesn't even know his grandchildren. Even my daughter got married, my son got married, and he doesn't know nothing.
The new American legislation meant that for the first time, Gemma Berizag and all the other victims had a real chance of winning compensation from Libya. But their prospects of success were jeopardised when America signed a landmark deal with Libya last year, paving the way for a full restoration of relations between the two countries. America only signed up to the deal after it had secured over $1 billion in compensation for US victims of Libyan terror. But to access the money, American victims must drop their legal action against Libya. If Mark MacDonald takes the $3 million he's entitled to from the fund, UK victims of the IRA would be left with nothing. Remarkably, he has refused to lay claim to the money. If the people who contacted you from Belfast are cut adrift, you get $3 million.
But of course, that's crazy. I mean, I certainly can't ask
Would
them.
you be happy with that?
If well, for them to get cut adrift, no. I mean, that's there's no way I would ask them to drop their legal case. So no, I mean, I wouldn't be happy with that.
But what did the British government do to push for compensation? IRA victims believe Tony Blair missed a huge opportunity in 2007 when he signed a multi-billion-pound BP exploration deal with Libya. The deal was a major step in Colonel Gaddafi's diplomatic rehabilitation.
What the American did what I think a government should do. They not only got the Libyans to be responsible for their acts of terrorism against their citizens, but also accountable. Whereas our government, under Prime Minister Blair, when he made his entente with Libya some years ago, he got responsibility from the Libyans for supporting the IRA, but forgot about accountability.
Why, in your opinion, why didn't he get accountability? Why was that?
Well, the Foreign Office, and the letters are there to prove it, came back and said there were 2 reasons. They said there was Blair had focused on WMD, intelligence swapping in our new relationship with Libya, and also energy.
Many of the victims are convinced that the UK's primary concern was oil and gas, a claim strenuously denied by the government, which says its key motivation in any negotiations is the war on terror.